Hi everyone, you have a business idea and you are finally ready to action on your business. Then these are 5 different structures that you can consider for your business. Now remember, this is just a short introduction to these structures with its pros, cons and my opinion on who should opt for these structures. It's not intended to be a long academic discussion or any sort of legal advice. Having said that, let's dive right in. The first is a sole proprietorship concern. This is the easiest to begin. Input costs are very low. All you need to do is to file an intimation with the appropriate governmental authority, get a shops and establishments license if that applies to you. If you fall under a relevant GST slab, then you get a GST number and you're all set to begin. In this, your income and your concern's income is not different. So it's just your PAN card, Aadhaar card, which is going to be used for all of the incorporation and for all other dealings, opening bank accounts and things like that. So there is no distinction between you and the entity in that sense. And liabilities are unlimited. Of course, you can take all the profits as well. Because of this sort of structure, this is the best for people who are either solopreneurs, people who are just starting out businesses, who if you want to just test the waters and see what's happening, this is good for these kind of people. The second is a partnership. This is a general partnership, which means it's a model where 2 people come together and then they do business together. Much like in a proprietorship, even in a partnership, there is unlimited liabilities, which means that even if there are losses, your personal assets can be attached to make good those losses or basically to settle those debts. Now, a partnership is good if those who are either testing out a co-founder relationship, or again you want to see whether you have a minimum viable product and you don't really want to invest in incorporating an entity and maybe getting a regular sort of EA accountant on board on a monthly basis and so on before you see whether there is any scope or future for this particular project, and you are more than one person, people like that can opt for a partnership concern. The third is a limited liability partnership, or what we know as LLP. Now LLP was envisioned to be a happy marriage between a partnership and a company. The vision was that it will give you the flexibility of a partnership, but the safety features of a company in terms of creating a separate legal person which is distinct from the founders. So the founders' personal assets don't get used to pay any debts of the LLP or of the company. Now, in practice, the LLP structure is regulated by the MCA or the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and therefore there are compliances required when it comes to LLP. So if you are going in for an LLP structure, then you must also factor in the expense or the cost to a good accountant who can keep up with the compliances and who can advise you on what are the correct steps to be followed. Having said that, I personally think that the LLP structure is a very good structure for those who are testing out a co-founder relationship with people either they don't know at all, or if you have more than 2 or 3 partners, if you have like 4 or 5 people or even 6 people coming together to start a business, all of whom are coming from diverse backgrounds, all of whom have already established businesses, for example, or they are just coming to start something and see how things go. I think for people like this, of situations like this, an LLP structure is very good because it gives you protection in terms of your own personal assets don't get implicated. Now, the fourth structure is a one-person company. Now, obviously, as the name suggests, it has only one person, but it is a company as in what we regularly understand as a company, which is a separate legal entity, a separate person, but with just one person. Now, there are a lot of pros and cons attached to one-person companies, and if you are a solopreneur but you still want a company type structure, then this is something you can opt for. But my advice to you would be to first consult a CA or a tax consultant to understand whether you need to go through the OPC route or not. In any case, it is an option available today that even solopreneurs can have the advantages of a company, which means a separate legal person and not them under this one-person company route. And finally, the fifth and the most formal of all of the types of entities that we've discussed is a private limited company. Now, a private limited company is regulated by the MCA. It is a separate legal entity, so it's distinct from the founders. It has shareholders. There are a lot of compliances. You need to have a board of directors. You need to have annual reports. There are a lot of compliances when it comes to a private limited company, but it also is a separate legal person. And then there are those sort of advantages from a safety angle also with a private limited company. So if you are looking looking at opting for a private limited company, then one of the things that you must do is also a budget for having a good accountant or a CA who will be able to guide you through all the required compliances in this regard. Now, a private limited company is good even in terms of input costs. A private limited company will be the most expensive route among the 5 that we have discussed. So there are 2 types of people that I would suggest should go for a private limited company. One is those who already have an established business and who are looking to scale. In that case, if you are looking to scale and you are becoming bigger, then the logical conclusion is a private limited company and thereafter a public limited company. The second set of people who should opt for a private limited company are those who are looking for funding, and you're looking for any kind of venture, or you're looking for investors to come into your company, whether in a formal way or an informal way, whether through venture or through angel or through anyone else or through a more sort of informal network. But if you're looking for funding, then these are the 2 sets of people that I think should go in for a private limited company route. This is a very short explainer on these 5 entities, and do let me know if you have any questions. Drop them in the comments and I'll be very happy to address them in a follow-up video. But until then, subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next video.